Hey y'all, it is Liv La Nina and we are back with another review today. So today I am going to do another romance anime because that's just my thing right now. But this one's a little different than some of the other ones I've talked about. This one is a little longer because you know that's usually my biggest gripe with these. But today I'm going to be reviewing Maid-sama. Right, so we're gonna get right into the rankings and I'm gonna do them faster this time because last time it was way too slow. All right, so number one, are they likable individually? I give this a 7. I think they're both, they being the main characters, which I will get into, but they're both likable. So Usui is the guy and he's like super handsome, super popular, you know, the type. And then Misaki is the girl who is very headstrong. She's very aggressive, but she has her reasons to be that way and she firmly stands her ground. I think sometimes she can be a little bit too aggressive, but she does learn along the show. So, but just starting out, I think they're both cool individually as people. So that's why they get a 7. All right, number 2 is only one love interest explored. This one gets a 5. I made them in the middle because there's really only kind of one serious other love interest explored on Masaki's side. Somebody that's kind of competing with Usui for her affection, and he's really like the only serious contender. There's a couple of boys from school who kind of gawk over her, but nothing really serious. So for the most part, the show is pretty much centered on Usui and Masaki. So my favorites, are they tested and how do they grow as individuals and as a couple? So this one, they get a 9 for because they are definitely tested in a lot of different ways. So the biggest way that I believe they're tested is their personalities. Like I said, Misaki is very headstrong. She's very aggressive. She hates men. She hates boys. Usui is very charming, but he's also very aggressive and kind of relentless in his pursuit. So I think they definitely both grow and learn to meet in the middle. Misaki eventually eases up. You know, Usui kind of tones it down from being like super, just super can't take no for an answer. There's some other stuff that happens as well. Misaki has stalkers and Usui actually helps her from that situation. And I feel like that's another thing that starts to bud their relationship. You know, they work on trusting each other, especially Misaki, because she has no faith in men, but she does learn to trust. So they definitely get a 9 for that. Do they inspire me to root for them? 10 out of 10. Yes, absolutely. They are super inspiring. Honestly, I will say though, the beginning of the show, I was kind of worried that Misaki's stubbornness would turn me off because it was just like, normally it's a little bit of boy meets girl, girl pushes boy away. I expect a little of that in the beginning, but she was like really ice cold. So she did start to warm up, which, won me over, but I definitely was rooting for them the entire show. Is the romantic tension maintained throughout? This one, I'm going to give it an 8. There was a little room for improvement in that I thought it wasn't as fluid as it could have been. There were times when the tension was like super, super high, and then there were times where it kind of fell flat. So I think it being a little bit more fluid would have helped it out, but there was definitely tension throughout the entire show. I believe Maid-sama is 24 episodes, and it is another anime that ends before the manga ends. So the story does get completed, but the anime ends before the actual ending. But I still think it did a good job. I just wish it kind of took Misaki a little longer than I wanted to for her to warm up all the way. There were some moments here and there, but I definitely think that could have probably happened a little faster. So that would have made it a little bit more fluid in my opinion. But I mean, that's still pretty good. All right, so for the final rankings, we have 7, 5, 9, 10, and 8, which gives us 39 out of 50, which again, you didn't know you tuned into a math channel. That equals a 7.8, which is not bad. In comparison, like comparing this to Say I Love You, this was definitely a better show to me, which is why I like how I have the ranking set up this time, because I really like Maid-sama. This one actually made me want to read the manga to see the ending, whereas Say I Love You, I really kind of didn't care that much. But this one, I really liked it. It was a really, really cute anime. So now I've got the rankings out of the way. I'm just going to give a, just a little overview, talk a little bit more about the show. And yeah, so now that we have the rankings out of the way, I can talk about this show that I really like. I watched it on Hulu. I'm not sure if it's still on there, but I mean, I'm sure there's an app you can watch it on, but that's where I watched it, on Hulu. So the two main characters, as we've been discussing, Masaki is the girl. She's very headstrong. She's the class president. And Usui is the male character who's handsome and charming. He meets Masaki and starts pursuing her. Now, Masaki, I like her character because she's given like a really serious backstory. So it's her mom, and her sister, and their dad left them a bunch of debt. And his actions is kind of the reason why she hates men now. So she's kind of got those wounds that she's carrying around with her. So she is super tough. She is like, no, don't take no nothing from anybody. And that's how she operates as class president. But what I really particularly like about Masaki is her growth. And even though I watched this because it is a romance anime, a lot of her growth was not necessarily related to the romance part. So for instance, in the show, there's like a school festival and she's just hell-bent on, being in charge, things being her way. And the boys, they decided, they were like, yeah, we're out of here. We're not going to be doing all of this. You're not going to be, we've tolerated you long enough, and she's willing to admit that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to not be in charge. And just in that one episode alone, there is so much growth in her, to just saying, all men are not bad men, boys are not necessarily the enemy. And it's okay to rely on people, to trust people, to give people, the opportunity to do things. And maybe they do it right, maybe they don't. So Masaki had a lot to learn in that regard. So as far as the name of the show, Maid-sama, she actually works part-time to support her family because of the debt that her father left them at a maid cafe, and she does this secretly. So Usui finds out that she works at a maid cafe. He starts coming to see her. He's like there every day. The stalkers that she had that I mentioned earlier actually come to her job and try to harass her, and Usui saves the day. There are like three students from school who end up finding out she worked there, but Usui just kind of scares them into not telling her secret. But they come there too to see her, but Usui's always there. Usui always has her time. So like I said, they weren't a serious love romance. But Hinata is someone who actually does have probably the most serious attraction to Masaki outside of Usui. So he's actually the one who goes up against Usui, and says that he's going to win her affection. But I mean, of course, it doesn't work. But there's always one person at least that tries. So there's some other cute moments. Usui ends up meeting Misaka's family, and she really doesn't like that. But I think that kind of starts the real journey of her opening up to him and, kind of taking him a little bit more seriously. Things start to get more serious after that encounter. As far as Usui, so Usui, like I said, he's charming, handsome, popular. Everybody wants him. We already know that trope. But Usui has his own history. There's some circumstances around his birth and his parents that kind of led to him being an outcast. So his growth in the show is kind of recognizing that your circumstances don't define what kind of person you're gonna be or what kind of life you're gonna have. That's completely up to you. So, you know, by meeting Misaka, and she has her own struggles, and she's, you know, class president, she's working a part-time job, she's supporting her family, and, you know, things that the cards that she were dealt that's out of her control, you know, she's making the best of it. So I think that inspires Usui to know that also applies to his situation. All in all, though, I will say that I think this getting a 7.8, almost an 8, is pretty spot on, because I really did like this show. This is a show that I would for sure watch again. Not quite a one-day watch for me. I'm maybe on the weekend, but this was like a 2 or 3 day watch. But it was very good. It had some cheesy moments, but it was really cute. And Usui's ending, the first one, was out of this world. So yeah, definitely a super dreamy couple. I loved this one. If you are into romance animes, I would highly recommend this one. It's funny too. It has a lot of comedy in it, but it's definitely a good anime. And I hope you all continue to tune in, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if there's something that you want me to review. I'm probably gonna start doing some of the more popular animes soon. I've been trying to hold off on those, but I gotta give the people what they want. So thank you for tuning in.